What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the No Hope Podcast, where we want the world to know there is hope. This is my beautiful wife, Kaytee Faye.
What's up, guys? We are so happy you are here, and we are jumping into episode 10.
Episode 10. Yeah. That is awesome, right? How was your Sunday?
Really good.
Yeah,
I had a really good Sunday. Went to church, got a bomb bagel, took a nap. It was great.
Bagel Stop is awesome. If you're ever in Parker, Colorado, you got to go to Bagel Stop.
It's so good.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
how was your Sunday?
It was good. It was really good. Yeah, relaxing. Had a good morning this morning. So, yeah, it was good. Super grateful.
Right on.
Which is one of the things that we'll get into. But, yeah, being grateful, I think, is so powerful, you know. So I use that to kind of stay grounded and not take for granted, you know, what God has done in my life, and just be grateful, you know.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely. It's a beautiful way to be.
What we'd like to do is start off with a little Rochambeau.
Yep.
Right? And the winner goes first. We pick 3 topics. We don't tell each other what the topics are, and then go from there. Just have a great conversation.
All righty.
I love it.
Okay.
All right, ready for it?
Ready.
All right. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh, dang. 4 in a row. That was awesome.
I lose on purpose.
So the first thing that I wanted to talk about is struggles and how they really shape us into who God created us to be. And, you know, I know sometimes struggles can be viewed as, you know, negative, but I really think they're necessary for growth and transformation. And so as I reflect over the years on my different struggles and challenges, man, when I was, you know, in the valley or going through it, sometimes you don't understand why, and you often ask God, like, why am I going through this? But as I look back and reflect, I realize that, you know what, we truly are refined by the fire, and it was able to kind of shape me and mold me into the man that God created me to be, you know?
Oh, absolutely. I look back on, you know, the different deep struggles that we had to experience, and I'm like, man, of course you first are like, why, you know, but then once you get past the why of it happening, you get into the depths of it, and it's the transformation that happened through it, and there need to be either like a humbling process or refining process. And I know it's so cliche, but you know, that pressure truly does form diamonds, because you become more humble, you have more empathy, you have so much to give at this point, because you came out on the other side. And if you're willing to see it in that light, I believe that it can bring like a fresh perspective to everything that you are.
I agree.
You know?
And one of the things that I always like to say is sometimes God allows us to experience what we're not in order for us to realize who we are. So in the midst of my addiction, I remember just saying to myself, this is not who I am. This is not who God created me to be. And I knew that to my very core. And I was so determined. I said, you know, I'm going to step into the man that God created me to be ultimately. But I look back and I realized that I experienced the opposite of what I truly was, right? Yep. But it also gave me so much insight and wisdom to life experiences in general, right? And being able to, like Ed Milet always says, you know, your struggle, when you get through that, it qualifies you to help somebody else who's struggling where you once were. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really, really cool to be able to know what you know, and then look back, and then you're the one holding the light for other people, because we look at our experiences, and when we were searching for people to help us or to guide us or to be inspired by, that those people, they don't even realize, you know, the individuals that they're impacting, but they truly are. I just look at the different people who have motivated us and inspired us, and I'm just so grateful, you know, for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, what's your first topic?
My first topic? Okay. This is just going to kind of get into like current, what's happening in life. But I wanted to talk about, just briefly, I wanted to talk about the TikTok ban, and I want to see how you feel about it. You know how I feel about it, but we can just have a little open discussion about it.
Absolutely. You know, it's interesting because we don't really know what's truly behind it, like the motivating factor. And you know that obviously there is an agenda of some kind with the, the people that supposedly, kind of, I wouldn't necessarily say run the world, but have a very powerful influence on the world.
Yeah.
And I really think it just comes down to, being able to have control over, the information. But I think that we're in a time in our life where there is so many outlets where you can get information,
Yeah.
that I think if anything, somebody's going to create another app that's very similar to TikTok that, isn't backed by, billions of dollars. And then that small company, because of, if they do get banned, which I think what's going to happen, I've heard Mr. Wonderful is going to try and buy it. He teamed up with this other guy. They have, I don't know, $60 billion, $80 billion where they have the money ready. But I think, yeah, somebody else I don't know why I felt that. I felt like somebody else is going to create an app that's very similar to that, but it's going to be like, maybe somebody with not that much funding, and then they've always had this dream that they want to have this app, and then it ends up doing really well, But I could see that starting a trend where other people are creating kind of like a social platform, but having it structured where you can make money from it.
Yeah, there's a few apps. There's one, it's called Neptune, that I saw that's pretty interesting. And there's this gal I follow, her name's Coco Moco, and she talks about just like trends that are up and coming in on the social platforms. And one of them is keeping mute of how many people are watching the posts, how many people are seeing it. So it kind of takes away like, oh, well, I'm going to watch them because they have like 1 million followers or whatever. So that could be something trending that we're seeing. But here's the thing. I love TikTok. I love her, okay? Because I've learned so much. I was going on my TikTok favorites and I was like saving all of my things. I felt like I was a collector of knowledge last night. And I was like, dude, like recipes and routines and all of this stuff. But what I think is really cool is that, okay, you consume all of these things, but then when you digest it and then you make it right for yourself personally, I think that's a huge form of authenticity, is being able to be inspired by somebody and then consume it and then kind of do your own thing with it, right? So I just was thinking last night, I'm like putting all my stuff on to get ready for bed. I was like, man, I would never have all this stuff on. I have like the hair thing and the stickers and all routine. Of this, my nighttime routine. I'm like, would this have happened without TikTok? And I'm like, I don't think so. So
castor oil.
Yeah, castor oil, like stickers, like all the stuff. And I'm like, man, what a bummer. And it's just amazing. I think that the impact that TikTok has made on culture, I think is so cool, because it's just allowing everyone to open up and share their wisdom and just like be real and then like find a community with it.
You want to know what I really think?
What do you really? Were you not telling us what you really thought before?
No, I did, but like what I really truly feel is it's not going to get banned, right? I think no matter what happens,
they must be like TikTok, moving something around.
Yeah, they're moving things around. Everybody's thinking that it's going to get banned. You probably have way more users on it now because it's about to get banned. But then those users that created an account, they said, I might as well make one real quick. And then it doesn't get banned. They're going to stay on the platform, right?
You think that people are creating them even if they think they're just going to get banned?
Yeah,
or maybe they're like,
maybe
they're like, I kind of want to see what this is about, so I'm going to hop on before it's gone.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of them say, hey, this supposedly is getting banned, but I really wanted to share this with people.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah.
Whether it's knowledge, information, whatever. But I think it's just going to get shifted around. TikTok's still going to be here, and it's going to be on to the next thing. Drama.
Right. On to the next thing.
Yeah.
I know. You think it's like getting so much hype, and you're like, what's really going on?
Yeah. Right.
And on that note, I just want, whoever's listening to know that, like, with all these disasters going on in America, we as a family are praying for all of you, for the people in LA, for the people in North Carolina, for the people in New York. Everything that's going on is that there's so many people in deep prayer for everyone to just, see the good through it and just be able to get through, because I know that these challenging times are just like insane.
Right. So and it's crazy because you really can't grasp the impact that it has on these different families because you're not
Yeah.
necessarily in the midst of it. Like,
Yeah, we
you
can't
can
even
kind of be like, oh my
imagine.
God, that would be terrible. But the
Yeah.
people that are actually losing everything is just, it's sad and scary. But I know that God has a plan through all that. It might not, right now, it might not seem like that,
Yeah.
but I think good is going to come out of it in some way, you know?
Oh, and that's what we have to hope for, is that
Hmm.
the good just comes out of it, because it's not just celebrities there. It's
Yeah.
real people who from all over the world who
Hmm.
like hustled and grinded to live in LA, to live that lifestyle. And so my dad grew up in that area, and so I see all the places that are going, and it's like, oh my God, it's just so wild. So just
Hmm.
know that we are praying for you. But
Yeah.
on that note, let's hop into
Okay.
your next
Yep.
topic.
So I wanted to talk about the separation that Kaytee and I had in order for our transformation, right?
Mm.
And so a couple different seasons in our life when we were younger, where whether I was struggling with drugs and alcohol, whatever it was, that we had this season of separation where God separated Kaytee and myself from, being together. And during that time, I mean, it was so powerful because we really worked on ourselves. I was at Teen Challenge at the time in a 1 year program. And so she was digging into the word, spending time with God, working with a number of different foundations, which was awesome, but really busy with work and really just taking time to become a better version, get closer to God, right? So then after that, and we came back together, I really feel like it helped us in our faith, our mindset, and our purpose, and why God brought us together. And so we were super grateful after that time apart to be able to be back together and really not taking it for granted. But I'm curious on your end, how was that during those times?
For a lot of it, I would say it was challenging, but I think challenges are a good thing. So if you're able to see like the light at the end of the tunnel,
Mm.
and for me, I look back and I'm like, hey, good job, younger Kaytee, for really digging in at that time. And I realized that I was the type of person that if I was going to go out, that it was going to be like wild. So I was like, I'm going to stay in, and I'm going to go on this journey with Johnny while he's doing this, because like this is like the love of my life, like my person. I'm going to ride this wave with him. In doing so, I was able to really dig deep and like really develop my relationship with Jesus, develop my spirituality and like the existence of my soul within this like earth suit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it was a really cool time. And it was really fun when we would like join back together, because we had so much growth in that time, and we'd be like,
Yeah.
yes, and we'd reconnect. And you know what was really cool is our brand No Idea has really been like a pillar in our relationship, and something for us to dream about and think about and do all this stuff. So when you hear us talking about No Idea and No Hope, it's been this beautiful seed that we planted a long time ago that really kept us driving in hope. And that's where No Hope comes from, because there was a time when both of us had no hope, when Johnny was going through his struggle and I was going through mine, because we've had multiple times where we had to be geographically separated. And
Yeah.
I'm not sure why. That was our personal journey. But
Mm-hmm.
I think that if somebody is listening to this and their spouse or their partner is dealing with addiction really bad, and they don't want to get a divorce, they don't want this person to be gone from their life, that I do always encourage a time of geographical separation, because God is trying to get a hold of your heart and their heart. And he's like, whoa, 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 hold on, you guys. Let me dive in to you personally, so that you can come out with victory and be stronger. And we had to experience that a couple of times to really get through it. And I pray it doesn't happen again, you know. And and all we can do is just look back on those times and just be full of gratitude.
Yeah, we're a lot older, way more mature, and we put a lot of things in our past that we'll never do, like drinking alcohol and stuff like that. But I'm grateful for that.
Or any drugs.
Yeah, no drugs.
No drugs.
But I'm so grateful for that. I look back, and as hard and challenging those times were, I'm so grateful for who I am today.
Yeah.
And then I don't have a desire to drink. I don't have a desire to do drugs. And I love that, right? I love sobriety, and I'm so grateful for it. Speaking of being grateful, I wake up every day, and I'm so grateful that I'm sober when I wake up. It is like the best gift I could ever give myself and give Kaytee and our son.
Yes.
You know?
And we think that every day too. I'm just like, I look over at Johnny and I just feel so much gratitude because I can go back to those times where we were struggling so badly and you have to put on like a good face, like, oh no, it's fine, we're gonna be okay. But inside you're like being mutilated because your family is just like going through this like deep destruction. And so just be encouraged that if you continue to seek God, to seek a higher power, to get quiet within, that God is going to lead you out and in a good and beautiful way. And he has a divine purpose and vision for your life. And that vision of no idea really was an anchor for Johnny and I to look to during that adversity.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's why I think it's so important to like kind of figure out what is your vision, what is your dream, you know, figure out your purpose. And it always changes. Your purpose can change and evolve season to season. But in this current season, what's that vision that you have for your life? You know, what do you feel like your purpose is? And that will be the driving factor of why you get up when you're tired, why you know, put in the work every single day.
Yeah.
Is because of that vision that you have for your life that God has given you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. My turn?
Yep.
Okay. Here we go. All right. Number 2. Oh, man. Okay. So, yesterday I was going through it. I was having a really hard day. And I know that I am like the moon. All days I am not full. And sometimes there's just a little sliver of me that's able to function. And that was me yesterday. And I was really going through it. And thankfully, Johnny's so kind. He's like, do you need anything? I was like, no, I need to cry. I need to like be by myself. So like back off, you know? And I think that's a really powerful time. And I used to be really, really hard on myself those days. And it was cool because yesterday I found myself like asking myself questions like, why are you feeling this way? What part of your body is feeling the pain? And you need to just let it out and get through it. And look at me today. I am a new woman. And so I just feel like people need to give themselves grace amidst their challenging days. Like if you are mad or you're sad or you're angry, don't be afraid of your emotions anymore. Welcome them in as like friends that are trying to like regulate you and tell you something about yourself or tell you something that you need to work through. And for me, I found myself that I was like stressing about my upcoming schedule and being able to balance it all and do all the things and be the best version of myself possible. We both have really big goals, and sometimes I'm really hard on myself and feel like I'm falling short, and it stresses me out. And it was really cool because I was able to go on to ChatGPT. I am a huge fan of ChatGPT as well. I love all the technology. I think it's dope. Anyways, so I was able to go onto ChatGPT. So if you, listener, you go onto ChatGPT for free and you can be like, dude, I'm feeling this type of way, blah, 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 blah. And it was so cool because I was able to have a written out schedule from ChatGPT to like help me like time block and work through like all of my things. And I was like, I feel so much better now because I'm going to be able to balance this out. And then you print out your little schedule. So I feel like when you're going through emotions that there's always a solution behind it. What do you think about that, Johnny?
Yeah. Is that what your second thing was? Is there a solution?
Yeah. To like, if you're having a crappy day, like what are some things that you do to work through when you're just having like a shit day?
Oh yeah. So some of the things that I do, I mean, and I go back to being grateful because I really try to put into perspective, like other people in the world, what they're going through on a daily basis, like just wanting to get clean water, or falling asleep at night listening to bombs explode,
or their whole house
or
being
your
on
house
fire.
getting burned down to the ground. So
Yep.
I do that often to just remind myself, like, be grateful for what you have. You have your arms, you have your legs, you have your sight, and don't take it for granted. And that kind of helps me. But definitely spending time alone with God and just really doing like a meditation and breath work, and just really kind of taking myself out of the midst of the circumstances, whatever it is that I'm stressing out about, and really just know that God has a plan through that. And sometimes you're in the midst of the circumstances and the challenges, and you're like, dude, I don't know how this is going to work out, but it's going to. And then to also have that like crazy conviction and belief that good is around every corner. So after we film this podcast, when I leave the studio and I go out that door, I'm expecting good to be around the corner. And going through life like that is almost like, I feel like in a way you can attract that into your life, because the vibrational frequency that you're feeling is like, okay, I don't know what it is, but there's good right around the corner. And so that's something that I do. But again, for the last 10 years, dove into a lot of personal development and, mindset stuff. And I think that after you do that for so many days in a row, so many months in a row, so many years in a row, you rewire your, neurotransmitters to where you program yourself to be positive. And then it becomes more natural. You still have hard days, you're not going to be perfect or anything like that, but you're more equipped to handle those difficult, challenging circumstances if you do that daily, morning routine. Even as simple as that, you do it every single morning, and then you're constantly, just being consciously aware of like your thoughts.
Absolutely. And I think another thing for me, and this ties into TikTok and social media and the overconsumption of information that we received. The night before last, I was watching a bunch of things about the fires, and I was watching about there's stuff going on in New York, and there's all this stuff, and I think my nervous system completely dysregulated right before I was going to sleep, because I was just like thinking about like all of that. And our body and our mind is so powerful that it kind of takes us there a little bit. And so I think that can definitely be the downfall of all this social media stuff on our minds personally, that if we don't have disciplines to stop, is that it can be very dysregulating
So
to our
true.
nervous system, because it like throws us out of whack, because then we're in a constant fight or flight, because we're thinking about all these like crazy things happening in the world and what's going to happen and children and blah, 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 all of this stuff. And
it's
so,
wild.
so I think that having that, one way I was like, get rid of TikTok. I don't want to see it anymore.
Right,
what
yeah.
I was like, get it out of here, because
Right.
this is just too much going on that I know about,
Yeah.
because if you think about it, if we didn't have our phones,
Oh yeah.
we'd just be like, oh, the bird,
Yeah,
which I like
exactly.
to get that way.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, all right. And then you're.
No, I think it's yours.
Oh, okay. Is this the third one?
This is the third one.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So the third thing that I wanted to talk about is finding joy in the journey. So basically the importance of, finding joy and gratitude in everyday life, which we've been talking about, but even in the smallest moments. I think that there's something so powerful about that. My mom, she likes to tell me that when you're grateful, you can't be feeling the emotion of fear, right? Worry, anxiety. And so it can't do both. It's one or the other.
Yeah.
And that's how it is with the duality of life. Day and night, up and down, good and bad, right? Fear or love. We're either operating out of fear or we're operating out of love. And so when you switch to being grateful, even if things are falling apart around you and whatever it is, right? If you can always find something to be grateful for, especially if you're breathing, right? So I think that it's just very powerful. And change your mind, you can change your life. If you can see it in here, you can hold it in your hand. I mean, it goes on and on. These are something that all the gurus, everybody has agreed without a doubt that what you believe, you become, right? And so knowing that is so powerful. Why do we fail to change our mindset. Like, why is that so challenging and struggling, But I think if you can do that, like literally, it doesn't matter where you're at in the world, you say, okay, wait a minute. So if I change my mindset, I can change my circumstances, I can change my future, I can become successful just from changing this. That's when I went all in. When that clicked, I was like, I'm going all in, dude.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it makes me think of Jude, our son, and we're doing this rising ritual with him where he has to do like a set amount of things. And one is like watering his fruits of the spirit, because God gifts us with fruits of the spirit. And one of them is joy. And if you're given a gift from God to have joy, there's power behind it. There's power behind the love and the joy and the peace and the patience and all of those things. And if we can harness in those gifts and grow them, I think that our days are filled with like just bliss and so much goodness. And so that's something that we're really trying to empower within our son to do that. Because oftentimes, I think that it's natural that you kind of look back and you find all these like negative things that happen. And we're trying to help Jude overcome that. Be like, hey, why don't you think of something like really good that happened? And I think that we can all be really self-critical when it comes to certain situations or how we acted in a conversation or how things didn't go our way or whatever. And one thing for me to overcome that was like, okay, God goes before me, and guess what? He stands behind me too. So if I'm coming at it from a place of love and trying to be the best person that I can possibly be, I know I'm covered in front and in back. And I think that really helps too.
Greater is he that is in us than he that's in the world.
Oh, right. And so then when we have those different promises and knowing like at the forefront of our mind, especially when our mind is being attacked, I think that's really imperative. And there's been discussions about people, saying a lot of the negative thoughts in our mind, they're not us. Those aren't thoughts coming from us. They're these negative sideways thoughts that kind of try to throw us off track. I believe fully that there is a whole spiritual situation that we can't see, and that we have an adversary that doesn't want us to win. So when we're having those negative thoughts, it's like, ooh, let's get that person to think about that negative thought every day. Every day when they wake up, you're going to attack them with that same negative thought. And I had to go through this, and I overcame it in such a beautiful way that when you really get a hold of your mind and you're like, I thought that same thought yesterday 100 times, which sounds insane, but 95% or something of the population is doing that. We're thinking the same things every single day, and you have to start thinking new things. For a long time, it's like thinking about the past. Why am I thinking about the past right now? I need to be thinking about the future. What do I want to do in the future? What do I want my day to look like? Hey, what am I doing for this or that? It's so powerful, and that like brings us right back to vision, to that powerful vision that God has put on your life. Look to that vision and planting that seed and growing that, because we plant these little seeds in our mind, and it's up to us to water those seeds and make them powerful. I feel like gardening is such a simple but beautiful picture that we can give our mind. Okay, you have to pull the weeds of negativity, and then you've planted the positive seeds, but then you have to water those positive things. You have to continually tend to the garden of your mind. And that's something for me that I always had. I did a visualization, and it was like you can totally fully go into your mind, and it may sound woo-woo, but it's so true, to go into the garden of your mind and really work it, right?
Absolutely.
Because everything's going to take time to create. So.
Yeah, it's such a great analogy. And also, too, something we can get into in another podcast, but frequency. So just like a radio station, you tune the dial, right? So there's these different thoughts, energy, frequencies at these different stations, so to say, and that's including negative thoughts that we think. So if you're low vibration because of your diet, you eat a lot of sugar, fast food, then you're going to be able to pick up those negative frequencies easier, right? And so, it's just, and that's why I think, if you have a really good diet, good water, you're eating, high vibrational fruits, veggies, I think it definitely can help you as far as with your mindset and really being consciously aware of the thoughts that especially your subconscious mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Absolutely.
but
Okay.
yeah. So another thing too that I wanted to leave you guys with is Romans
Oh,
5:3-4.
go ahead.
And that is suffering produces perseverance, perseverance, character, and character, hope. And Kaytee has her third topic.
So sorry. You were like going for it. I'm like, hey, so sorry.
No, it's
Um,
good.
and the last one, I feel like this is something kind of we touch on every single podcast, and it's really um, stacking habits that feel authentic to you. I told you guys earlier how I was like doing all these things for a nighttime routine because I'm like learning about like aging and all the things and your skincare and all of that on TikTok. And I'm like, okay, but what feels authentic to me? I can go through and I can see what Johnny and Kaytee are doing, and I want to do what they're doing, or I see this influencer or that or this. But when we really let our inner voice and our inner Christ become our guide to what feels authentic to us, then it sticks. It's tangible because it's not coming from outside of you, it's coming from within you. You know, you can go on all these different diets, all these different things, but if it doesn't feel sacred and right within, then it's going to throw us personally off balance. I think it's so hard to see so many carbon copy people. They're like, I want my face to look like theirs. I want my body to look like this person. My hair, oh, see that? I want it to be like that. It's like we've gotten so out of touch with who we truly are and who God created us to be that it makes it so challenging to just like do.
Yeah.
You have so much information coming at you. You're like, I'm not really sure what to do. So if you're having a hard time finding the exact right like way to eat or way to live or different habits to form, you need to get quiet. You need to be still. You need to like chill for a minute and turn everything off and get quiet within yourself and find what's truly authentic to you is kind of what I wanted to touch on.
Yeah, absolutely. Like your own vision, right?
Yeah.
That God has given you.
Yeah, like
and
your
I think
personal
that,
personal stuff going
like
on.
your personal mission, vision, purpose.
Just in the way that you live, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that what's cool about this journey here on Earth is that it's an incredible adventure with ups and downs and challenges and all these different things. And part of that adventure, well, a lot of it, depends on us. Are we going to seek out what that purpose is, what the vision is for your life? And there's a lot of different seasons we go through where you're seeking, but man, if you seek, you will inevitably discover that vision, discover your purpose, and God will reveal things to you that is so incredible on an intimate level, right?
And you'll have that personal revelation of who God is within your life. And that's what I think is so cool about serving just like a living God is like you have that personal thing going on and you have that conviction and that relationship that it's like, it's like it's there, it's real and it's powerful. So seek within you. And here at No Idea is purpose, passion, and authenticity. We want to empower you to become as authentic as possible, to become who God created you to be. Because if we have more people becoming who God created us to be, we're going to change the world. We are going to make this place awesome. And that's what we want to do for our children.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. And also, too, whatever it is that you have a dream about, do it.
Yeah.
Make 2025 the year that you take action. Who cares if you fail? Who cares if you aren't perfect at something? Just do it so that you don't look back with regret and say, man, when I was in my 30s, I wish I would have given this a shot. Don't do that. Just be able to be okay with failing and pursue after it, man, because we want people to know the idea of their life and living a life of authenticity, which is cool because that's a higher vibrational frequency than love. Right? When you told me that, I was like, dang, that is crazy.
Yeah.
And so also you have a story to tell and people to inspire.
Mm-hmm.
And so go create, go take action for that business you want to build, whatever it is, but just do it, right? Because somebody out there needs to hear your story, and you're going to inspire them and possibly change their life.
And it's in a way that only you can do.
Yeah.
Like you're the one. You're the one that they've been waiting for. So just go for it. And I think it's just powerful when you do that. Go for it. Messy, scared, imperfect, because along the way you're going to refine yourself and get better and better.
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. Thank you so much. Again, there's a free download to help you discover what your purpose and your passion is, which is pretty cool. And we have our Walking and Answered Prayers Faith t-shirts, and love those. So if there's a style that you like that you don't see on there, just let us know, because we can always create one. And but yeah, you guys have an awesome week.
Yep.
And we appreciate you.
Bye.
Nice.